Here we go. We're back again. PulseX live, folks. We are live at good old, where am I streaming from? Good old New Zealand. So I hope you guys are having a great time around the world. Very, very exciting. Obviously, we're in the frontier time zone here. I mean, I think it's like 5 o'clock. Was it 5:30 in the afternoon here? So it's summertime, of course, pretty hot. So it's great to be broadcasting. Hope you guys are having a good time. Man, this is rocking the DMV here. You know how I love that. That's pretty much how we roll. Let me just check to make sure the audio is up and running. Pretty sure it is going good. Let me have a test. Yeah, listen to my old speakers. Yeah, it's going good. So very, very cool. Hey, welcome everybody. Woo-hoo-hoo. And let's get into some of the chats. First, I've obviously got the Hex chart up. The Hex chart up. So that's how we're rolling. And of course, we've got Brazology in the house. The floor is lava. Yeah. I thought I used to look at that back in the old day, that chart, you know, the 360 chart. And I haven't looked at it for ages. And I know Richard Hart posted all the time when the Hex is green and the rest of the floor is lava. But very, very cool. So I thought I'd post it on the little thumbnail today. And I looked up that site. I used to use it all the time. I loved it when it first came out. And then I haven't used it for ages. So it's quite funny that. Brendan says, woohoo, let's go live. Hey, Brendan, welcome. Good to see you. And I feel you. I feel it. Yeah. And Brendan says, do you believe PulseX can do 10,000x in the future or even more? Well, let's put it this way. Richard Hart does. Yeah, why not? If I'm backing Richard Hart's projects, obviously over a multi-year period, that's the case. So, yeah, definitely. It is deflationary. Remember, there's going to be less and less of it on the market if we treat the Origin account as an active liquidity. And we wash out a lot of the short-term whales and sharks and dolphins and squids and tinkering turtles and all the rest of it, then I'm sure it will do with the buy and burn. The buy and burn is impressive. And AMM bot looks like that's going to run, straight off the bat, could run some pretty nice burns straight off the bat. So, yeah, feeling pretty bullish. The one thing about PLS is staking. Getting some of that off the market would be is my only thing around the tokenomics at this stage. But let me know your thoughts on that in the chat. Solix says, good morning. Hey, Solix, good to see you. And Morris Williams says, hi from New Zealand. Hope your day is going okay. Hey, good to see you, Morris. And I'm sure you're enjoying some of the great weather here as well. Very, very cool. And Morris says, the Master's on fire in Bali. Yeah, that's right. So I'm sure he'll be popping in a second. And very, very cool. Brazology says you are 21 hours ahead of me. I mean, that's quite a different time zone, eh? So really, really is quite cool. So I'm bringing you the news from 21 hours ahead there, Brazology. Ha, 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 ha. So cool. All 19 says Brazology, all 19. Audio is good. Hey, that's great. Thanks, Brazology. Appreciate it. Big shout out to you. And Scott says, let's go smash the likes, people. You hit the subs. Hey, we hit 2,700 subs. Woo-hoo-hoo! We hit that. That's really, really cool. Onwards to 2,800 and ultimately 3,000 is the next target. Very, very cool. Now, Scotty's in the house goes, let's go smash the likes, people. Absolutely love it. And Hex Soldy's in the house too with the clap hands. What else we got going? Hex Force says hello from Arizona, 9:30 p.m. here. Okay, that's pretty cool. And of course, that will be yesterday. That will be, was it Saturday? So yeah, very, very cool. So you're still a day behind me there. Brownie's got the Yahoo in the house. Say Brownie, always a pleasure. And Descripto Crypto, I like that name. So much Hex sacrificed out of circulation. T-shares ratcheting higher faster than ever. Looks great. Yeah, that's the good news. I mean, the sacrifice over 2.1 billion. We're going to check that out, of course, in the update. The cool thing I like, though, of course, is the fact that the share rate has also gone over 20,500 today. An increase of 12, I think 12.1 or something like that. Very, very cool. Check out the daily update, of course, I do on this channel. Now, maybe looking to change some of the type of content I'm doing on this channel. So look forward to that. Going to do that. So very, very cool. Alex Fame says, another day, another pulse. Thanks, Hex Token. Hey, Alex, appreciate that. Another day, another pulse. Yeah, that's right. So I just realized I wasn't even over that. Hadn't even clicked on that one. So yeah, definitely. Hex Hound says, hello, guys. Hey, Hex Hound, good to see you in the house. Hey, welcome, everybody. If you're new to the channel, of course, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. You know how to push the YouTube algorithm up. That's the way to go. Matt and Barley is arrived. Finally, Matt Barley is in the house. Hey, hello, everybody. Smash the like, ready for the best real content. No crap, just simple truth and mathematics. Love your work. Hey, Matt, appreciate that. big shout out to you back there too. And Brendan says the only reason I asked was because other decentralized exchanges like Pancake and Uni have only done a max of 1,000x this point of time, but I agree PLX can do much more. Yeah, so I mean PLX can do more because of the buy and burn, because it's going to be on the PulseChain. I think everything's going to be superior. So if the infrastructure is superior, the buy and burn, the tokenomics is superior, and the ramp up and mass adoption. So they didn't have the ramp up. They won't have the same ramp up and mass adoption that you'll see on PulseChain and PulseX. So it's going to be the biggest yield farming in history. So I think all those things together, Brent, it really does make a big deal. Like I said, the only issue I have at the moment with PulseX is around getting tokens off the market staking, in addition to people buying over, net buyers, in addition to the buy and burn. So that's my only thing at the moment. So let us know in the chat what you think about that. Very, very cool. Ramon says, buy more Hex. Buy more Hex. Hey, great to see you, Ramon. And Ramon's having a good time with the Magic Carpet ride. So we're definitely going to follow that journey there, Ramon. Buy more Hex. Yeah, that's right. I think Hex is holding up pretty well, 18 cents at the moment. So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think we saw a sell-off after the day closed. Let me just let me move the price over there and let me just check that. I'm just going to mute this over here, and let me just check the hourly there, and let's see, because we, a couple of days in a row we had some Hex OG sell-off. We covered that on this channel, not to hassle the Hex OGs, but just to say that's what actually happened, right? More of a factual thing. And so let's have a look back. I think let me just check. So 4 hours and 40 minutes. So was it back here? And yeah, we didn't have a sell-off this time, folks. We didn't have no sell-off, no stakes unstaking, and then a sell-off, or no stakes that already matured, because you maybe get a 2-week reprieve before you get the 1% penalty on your X matured stakes, and it just went up from there. So that's real positive. It didn't do the same thing. So really great to see that in the house. Descripto says, wait a minute, I think we're let me just go on to Michael's in the house. Do you know if Pulse will be listed on major exchanges? If not, how will that affect its performance? No one knows at this stage. I have a feeling that Coinbase might be the best place for one of the bigger exchanges for Hex, given the Sense Foundation sacrifice and PulseChain. I still think that that's possible. We know we've got an indirect listing on there, kind of thing. So that's possible. I know that people in the community will be working on trying to get these listed, and I suspect we'll have some of the leading pairs make it to those exchanges, is my guess. Is possible. So it's very hard to ignore PulseChain. That would be to their detriment. They're all after volume. Remember, centralized exchange are after volume, folks. And there has been some talk about them, potentially sacrificing and participating as well. I haven't seen anything more than that, but I have heard rumors only. But yeah, I definitely think that they're all about volume. So they don't want to miss out on one of the biggest chains, if not going to be the biggest, if we have our way with it in crypto land. It's really going to be interesting to see. But good question, Mike. I also think having indexes, there'll be more indexes popping up, and we never know. A PulseChain will be big enough to probably run its own index. Can you imagine? So people will be able to come to that, see a real Hex market cap as well. Yeah, I think that's a very big possible. We know we've got howtopulse.com. Already does their own one, but I think it's going to be even bigger than that, because it's kind of specialized around Pulse. But I think that could be really huge, having one just for PulseChain, and then because if we're going to get mass adoption for Ethereum and these other chains through yield farming, then we might as well have our own, set up our own one, right? Because if you think about most cryptos is diving down, right? All the alts are diving down. Then where's the real value in crypto? Well, PulseChain could get, I don't know, let's argue, say PulseChain gets, if we went up to 3 trillion, let's say that PulseChain gets half $500 billion of value, or $1 trillion of value, then where's everyone going to go for the indexes? They're going to go to the PulseChain one. So you see what I mean? It's like we're about to, if there's 4 elephants in the room, we're about to put an elephant in the room. Does that make sense? Maybe the biggest one. Who knows? So very cool. I'm very optimistic about that. Very, very optimistic. So cool. This Scripto says, I have a feeling Richard will be throwing some wealth around this year after the launch of everything. Good team to be on. Absolutely. And he's already hinted to that, right? On the last day. I think it wasn't his keynote speak. It was either his keynote. I think it was after his keynote speaker. I think it was in the socials there afterwards, in the hour afterwards, on day 4 of the Hexpo online conference that Matty held on his channel. and he was talking about, there's over 600 million US dollars in there, and he's looking to, feels like he might spend something. No expectations of work with others, of course, but I definitely think that could, like I say, float around. Could be and funding pools, could be potentially the bridge, depending on how that works, because typically a lot of bridges you need a certain amount of funds. So I'm not sure how they've run the bridge the same way, but typically they're the same. And of course, because you need tokens to be able to swap on the other side. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays, and also marketing, obviously marketing, and maybe some more infrastructure build, which we already know he's got a big roadmap he wants to do. Some of the top ones, he's obviously trying to get his exchange up and other things. MetaMask, improved MetaMask, all that sort of stuff. So lots of things happening there. Alex Fame says, I want to buy more Hex, but the gas fees must be crazy. Let me have a look at that. To be honest, haven't looked at gas fees a lot lately. It's 101 at the moment, so that's actually relatively low. Is that weird? It's weird saying that, but 101 Gwei is actually relatively low at the moment. Yeah. Although, I did see it for a little bit, a couple of days ago at around about 68 or 64. Actually, I saw it at 58 earlier in the week. I don't know whether I was just lucky at the time, but that was the case. But it's at 100 now, which is relatively low, given the fact that normally it's way over 100. I see the ETH is down at $2,438. That's up a bit, but we're going to check that out too. Let's get back into the chart there. So looking good. So yeah, I think the Hex price is looking quite good at 18 cents, man. Hey. Lots of green volume candles as well. This is just on the US dollar pair for version 3, just to give you the context of this liquidity. Remember, there's 4 pairs on Uniswap, 2 ETH pairs and 2 USD pairs on both version 2 of version 2 and version 3. And version 3, of course, has the ability that you can put liquidity just on one side, and also in a particular range of the curve, so the volume curve. So you can maximize, have the most efficient returns if you want to get that. So it's a little different from Uniswap version 2, which is just basically spread along the whole lot. So very, very cool. 18, not looking good. It's not much to say. It just looks like it's holding up. Let's go to the daily though, and check that out. And let's pull that up. So we've got our support lines here. I had the support line down at 16 cents, and the reason why we get that is because we've got a lot of sort of support around here. This was resistance previously. We broke through that. And of course, support around here. You can sort of see this is where you get the idea for 16 cents from, support around here, and so forth. So it hasn't quite hit that yet. I saw people talking about particularly 15, 16 cents. That seems to be a popular. People see that too in the chart. And so it seems to be the case at the moment. And of course, we've got that. This is the linear chart, not the log. So log chart's typically better for long-term patterns. And based on my log chart, which is not on here, we're still in the upward trend. So I heard some people commenting saying that they look like we're below that, but in my log chart, which I'm using, which gives data all the way back to December 2019 when Hex launched, it's still in my channel, as it were, upward channel. So interesting stuff there. So we got 16 cents seems like the bottom. Hey, there's no reason why we can't hit off that. I mean, at the moment we've got a nice little green candle. Maybe this is the bottom. But if it's not, then we'll see. The only thing is that I think next week is particularly could be very volatile with the Fed coming out, and of course with the leading tech stocks, Tesla, Google, and stuff like that coming out next week. So if they're more positive, then the market could just say, okay, we had a nice little correction. Now we're going to keep going up. Or they're going to say, oh no, we're going to correct another 10%. It's either one of those two going to happen, right? So that's what I mean. Next week's a little bit volatile. Then I think we might get a bit of a breather, depending on how much negative news the media likes to spin. Because sometimes the media themselves help make the market go down, right? With the news they choose to promote or not promote. So there we are. So that's where we're at the moment. Very, very cool. The low to today, 18.143 cents. So not too bad. And we're not too far away. Let's have a look. I think let's have a look on this chart. We're going to be a few days and, 31, 32 days away from the end of the PulseX sacrifice. Richard is super bullish, as many of you know, watching his live streams, that everything is tracking off. So very, very cool. We've got the minimum viable product. We've got the Uniswap version 2. We've tested that live. We've got We've got the bridge just come out for public testing, and of course I did a video on that. And of course we've got the PulseX going to be on there too, and yeah, so we've got the Uniswap, PulseX, and we've also got the validators being tested on the chain, looking pretty good. Yeah, looking nice. I think I missed one thing off the minimum viable product there, but hey, that's all right. Talk about that later. I'll probably come back to me. But anyway, so that's cool. And so yeah, just testing along. And then of course we've just got the PulseX DAO and the AMM bot to run, PulseChain testnet 3. And then we're pretty much away. I think the distributions will be a bit tedious, to be honest. I think most of them will be simple. But then I think some of these weird, some people that have made mistakes or that are in small tokens, those could be quite tedious for Richard's specialist guru to do it. But hey, the ability to make magic, they can probably get that out. And I don't think they're going to hold that up too much, hopefully, for everybody else. But yeah, that's looking good. And then maybe a week or 3 weeks, we could have the launch in March sometime in this range, possibly. I still think there's going to be, and also we need the block height. So it's the other thing we need, the block height to come out. So yeah, that's what we're waiting for. Yeah, very cool. Oh, the validators, we had the validators, didn't we, on testing on that? So it's been pretty nice. Yeah, so we're just waiting a whole month to go, whole month before PulseX finishes. Richard did tease about the fact that he thought things were going so well we could launch next week, but then he realized he forgot about the AMM bot running, and of course that needs to happen too. So I actually think there's a bit more practical stuff to actually line up to make sure before you launch it, and I'm sure they've got a little checklist and process for going live, as well as changing the block height. But apparently when PulseChain testnet 3 comes out, we've actually Richard was talking about us getting a new block height for the testnet 3, so that'd be pretty cool. So if you do have tokens on there, you'll be able to get that updated and actually see those on the PulseChain testnet version 3 blockchain when you go to trade. And of course you can just add in the tokens into your wallet to see that. So some cool stuff happening there. We haven't come near the support line here. The support lines you can see down from the last peak there. So we haven't come down to that yet. So that would be, something like 14, 15 cents in there is where I see that at the moment. So I don't think it's going to go down to here, down to 12, 13 cents. Hex tends to, have that first shock wave where it moves with the market and then it starts doing its own thing. So let's be optimistic about that happening. That's probably the way I'd put it. Let's have a look at some of the indicators. I think I've got my 2 indicators in here. DMI, let's see how that's going. Yeah, so we've still got the small sellers than buyers, so we need this to turn a little bit. That has to happen, but the signal line is turning. And let's have a look here on the RSI. RSI is also turned up, so that's a little bit more positive, 39.88. But we've got plenty of room to rise for a nice rally. So looking good there too. We've got a nice little uptrend too. If you want to take a little uptrend of the bottoms there, we've got higher lows and higher highs. That's what we want when we look at it. All right, so cool. Let us scroll like that. So nice. Let's get into this chat here. I'm going to jump over to Nomics for a second. And we've got hey, Bob's in the house. Hey, Hex Token. Hey, good to see you, Bob. And welcome everybody. Of course, it is Sunday here. Some places it's Sunday evening, Saturday evening, I should say. So welcome to you for where you are. If you've got if it's Saturday, some of you might be partying. So this would be part of the party. Brent says, don't get me wrong, I'll be happy with 1000X, but I want that life-changing money. Sorry, huh? I don't mean I'll leave you. No, right here. Well, I'm sure depending on what you've invested, 1000X would be life-changing, wouldn't it? Depending on what you put in there. So, yeah. Extremely lol, yeah. And Hexhound says, I had to sacrifice mine yesterday. So you're topping up there, yeah, because I actually put a poll in today, but the YouTube wouldn't let the poll go in. So the poll was whether you're going to be topping up more. So unfortunately, there would be a poll today on the channel, but YouTube didn't help me along there. I had to sacrifice mine yesterday, which is perfect because that's my poll was about, your topic, whether you're topping up or not. Brenton says, I might get a flogging later now, says Brenton. Yeah, probably. Lol. And Brenton says, congrats, Hexsound. Dingo says, Michael Saylor said BTC is not a bear market in an interview with MM Crypto, delusional. That's interesting. It's trying to pick the bottom. It doesn't mean it necessarily has to do like an 85% correction or something, you know what I mean? But we have got a lot of bad macro news, and I have gotten away. That's why I think Hex is one of the better ones to be in, because with PulseChain, PulseX, you're building some massive infrastructure, and people that will be a beacon of light in crypto. You can imagine more people will be going there. But we don't want the market to fall too low. That's what I'm talking about. We want the market to stay up, not to go too low. I mean, sort of Bitcoin's already at 35K. We don't want all the assets to go too low because when we launch, because we want people to have some asset wealth, right? And if they're going to go to PulseChain and stuff like that, we want them to bring it over with the higher value as possible. So don't get me wrong about that. Although we'll do particularly well in bearish conditions, the higher the better. It's pretty much how it goes. Hexhound says, I think it's going to pay off. I think so too. We are the PulseX bull army. Let's go the way yee-hoo-hoo, says Matt. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. And Bearded Saints in the house with a nice little piece of peace and love there. And Solix says, when you feel rich without being rich, it's coming. Yeah, that's right. Well, still, patience is another big thing in the community. Just being patient. Like I said, the people that sell out with the little X's, they're excited and they go, but they never get the 100X, never get the 1000X, and they'll definitely never get the 10,000X when they do that sort of behavior. Abracadabra says block height won't even be given to avoid liquidity providers pulling before, but estimated time frame will be given. Yeah, that's kind of where I feel it's at too there, Abracadabra. Absolutely. And Abracadabra says hashtag never selling. Yeah. And Matt and Barley says I've only got Cody. Oh man, Cody from good old Qcoin. Yeah, man, that was pretty mad crazy during the time. Icon, B Pro, and Star Launch left in my personal portfolio. Everything else has been sacrificed. What do I let go of for one more sacrifice? Yeah, true. But you're getting a little bit more a volume multiplier, right? So no, just put it in a random mat or something. Yeah, I guess Cody's probably the best one out of those ones, right? I'm not familiar with the other three. I just know Cody, but I would have thought Cody was doing all right. Abracadabra says liquid loans referral program and SAC happening soon. Yeah, so we're going to be covering liquid loans more. Obviously, it's a third-party project, but I do actually think it plays a big role as in savings for in the savings ecosystem. So I do, or a bank. You can look at it as a bank, or sorry, not savings. It's correct. Hex is the savings. I meant lending. So it's kind of like a bank on lending, kind of like that sort of thing. And Brazil says, I don't think I'll be topping up anymore until launch, says Brazilji. Yeah, so that's the other side of the thing. Keep some dry powder for any of the massive pullbacks we always get in crypto, because that's when the whales are going to let it happen, right? The whales are going to let the small plebs sell their bags, cash out, and then the whales are going to come in, right? The whales are going to come in. You guys know it, right? You've seen it time and time again. The whales sit on the sideline go, hey, let all the little fishy plays, little plankton, little fishes, right? Then the whale's going to come and go, hey, there's all this plankton all around. I'm going to eat a lot. That's what the whales are going to do. And so remember, keep dry powder too. Join the whales in the buy up when there's an opportunity. It's going to be there, man. It's going to be there for sure. And whales are going to let them play out. So just keep watching that chart, PulseX, Pulse, when it launches, because it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Liquid Loans is in the house to do some buying, so it's going to be interesting to see them play out as well. And Abracadabra says BTC is kind of going sideways at the moment. Well, it may just very well consolidate here, but the problem is next week is also, as I said earlier, is also looking contentious with the Fed decision and how hawkish they're going to be, and also with the tech stock performances around Tesla and stuff like that. So just take that into account. We're not quite through that yet. That's why I said next week could also be like this week. So we'll see. That's why I like Hex, man. That's why I love Hex, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah. I love Hex. All right. So nice. All right. Let's not get too crazy. Let's not get too crazy up in there. But yeah. Precisely says Hex at 1809. Yeah. So I think Hex is looking pretty good, actually. And it'd be nice if we get a nice little, nice big green candle here. Who knows is going to push that up, but we haven't seen that happen. So yeah, definitely looking better. Let's move that back to the hourly, just in case we want to look at that. The hourlies are just a lot more detail. Hey, we might break this other top here too, so that might get us up to 18.4 or something. Watch that. And Abraham says, what's good, Briz? Chris B. Bacon, I'm done sacrificing, but I'm waiting for buying opportunities after launch. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying, Chris. I think that's the way to go. Obviously, if you haven't sacrificed, I still think the rate's very good for you at the moment compared to potential X's, but it's something for you to make a decision on as well. So we're pretty much at $1.98 per 10,000 points. And of course, depending on how much you sacrifice, what your multiplier will be on top of that. Very, very cool. Francia's in the house. Hey, Francia. Hello. And good to see you in the chat. Abracadabra says, Reactive Riches Brandon was looking at a good BTC holders being greater than 1,000 chart on look into Bitcoin. Great indicator for sure. Yeah. That's pretty good. Brandon's doing some, Reactive Riches doing some good stuff there. Brendan Eslick says, I think the pullback on some of the projects will be after a month of launch. That's what ETH did. I think you're probably right there. That's why I said I think that the most vulnerable period is between that first 6 weeks for the price. So it's just something to think about. That's why I said keep some dry powder, folks. Don't go all in. I know all in's very attractive. It's just like, I had a discussion the other day. Remember I said, if the market pulls back, I said if you've made really good gains and you have some debt and that debt could be a bit of a problem, you should pay a bit of that down. Remember, some people in the chat will go, no, go all in, go all hardcore. I'm making 50,000x. Well, look what's happened to the market since then. The market's pulled back. Some of them, boo-hoo, crying, and that's because if you do make big bags, you should pay. Try and get rid of that debt while you if you made 50x, you might as well try and get rid of that debt, right? And then you've got no debt, and because the market will pull back, you'll be able to buy more of those bags back and recover all that debt. You do now have to do some prudent financial management, right? You can't just ride it all the time. It's pretty good to get rid of some of that stuff. So this is my thoughts on that. I'm a bit passionate about that financial management side. Scotty says, good buddy of mine is selling all his high dollar sports cards, everything from Michael Jordan to Joe Barry, rookies, etc., to then buy Hex before PulseChain launch. Wow, yeah. I expect that. I've said this on this channel, and I think most of you know there's going to be a big rally in Hex, man. People want to get that, want to get the copy on the PulseChain. Hex is going to do a rally. The whales, I'm sure, will push the rally as well. So I said we've got 31 days for the end of PulseX exchange. I'm sure that we'll get something either there or just after it, right? Just after it on here. So we go back to the daily again now. We're going to get into PulseX results in a second, but we'll probably get I'm expecting a rally up into here or just after, right? So we might get a rally and then a pullback and then a rally into the thing. It's going to be quite crazy, man. I think we're going to blow past this all-time high, and of course, the lower it is, the better for the whales, right? They pick up so much more Hex themselves, so they'll be watching this chat, waiting for a time to pull that out. And of course, we've got a nice little triangle there too. And of course, they can bounce out of there too. Let's put a little nice green arrow. You know me. I like to put the green arrow, but let's put a little arrow on that edge. So bam, and let's make it nice and solid green. But it's going to happen somewhere, here or in here somewhere, right? So it's going to be pretty cool. And I'm expecting that to come at some stage. Obviously, the market's very bearish at the moment. We have to wait for that sentiment to push out. But once we get a bit of room, maybe in a week's time, we could see something happen there. For sure. We got Francia's got the high again. Hey, Francia, and great property reviews in the house. Great show. Hey, property review, great. I just watched your channel the other day. Excellent channel, really cool. And I do like property a lot, so great to see you in the house. Xhound says, "Oh, come on! If I can sacrifice the wife, you can go all in." Well, that's the probably the exception to the rule there, Hexhound. Maybe the grandmother too, I don't know. But there we are, the mother-in-law, definitely the mother-in-law, right? That's the way it goes. All right, jokes aside, folks. Sorry out there to the mother-in-laws and the grandmothers. But there we are. All right, so let's have a look at Bitcoin at 35,325, down 3% at the moment. So it's really cooled off because this was down like 12% and stuff. These things like really massive. Ethereum at 2,431, down 5%. Binance coin down at 372. Man, these prices are such a steal only from a couple of weeks ago, right? They were so much higher. And man, oh man. So if you had hedged yourself, maybe moved a lot of stuff in the stables, man, you could buy stuff up. The only problem is with these currencies, of course, if they're in a downtrend, and that there's potentially some troublesome news next week, then Hart's Law really does come into play, right, as well. So you got Hart's Law and a bearish trend, some bearish potential news next, or at least some volatile news next week. Then you are buying into a market going down, so you got to be careful with that. Timing the market in this case is probably more important. So, but the other sort of side, of course, is you've got with Hex, it's 85% USD, baby. Hart's Law playing out there. That's pretty cool. So. And as I've talked about, the only exception to that is people, if the other cryptos go down, they think they can get more with their high price Hex, and they go and buy other tokens. But the problem with that, as the counter problem to that, of course, is if you're in a bearish market going down, then you could end up losing on that one. So you might thought you won, but you end up losing. So there we are, something food for thought. So Cardano is sitting at $1.11, up 2.7%. Solana is down 8.6. Now, apparently, Cardano and Solana have both had problems. Richard's been commenting on that they've both been having problems with the chain. So interesting stuff there. XRP, 62.8 cents. And let me know if you've seen stuff around that too about Solana or Cardano stuff, because I haven't actually seen anything other than Richard's commentary on that. Terra, $68, down 12.5%, or up 12.5%. So the Terra is down heaps. Remember, Terra really got smashed. So it's actually probably not too. It is a little bit unusual to get such a bounce back, 12.5%. But it was getting pretty hard hit yesterday. And of course, Hex sitting at number 10. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good spot and easy one to move up from, right? A nice little price move, and Hex could move it up quite a few positions here. And that's pretty solid. Look at Bitcoin market cap, 668 million now. That's just dreadful, isn't it? It's like, it feels that way. I know 35,000 is actually still a pretty good price, but man, it feels that way at 668 billion. You expect it to be over $1 trillion these days. And yeah, we were over 3 trillion in the global market cap. That's definitely down. All right, let's get over to PulseX. We'll answer a few comments first, and we'll jump over to PulseX results. Matt says, Lyle sacrificed the wife. I was thinking the dog or the wife, and choose the wife. Keep the yeah. We should probably not talk so much about the wives and things in such fashions. But hey, there we are. Mr. AK says, question: can Hex go into a multi-year bear trend and stay at these levels? If not, then at what point would you draw the line and entertainment and possibly of a multi-year Hex bear? Well, it's always possible, but I think that there's a lot of positive things within the tokenomics and within the fundamentals still playing out. That's why I said to you that my only hindrance about the stock market going down, the crypto going down, is that the whales that we're expecting to come in this year, maybe they don't come in, or they don't come in as hard. They don't come in as much as they would have otherwise come in, because you have two basic things, right? We all know you have assets and you have income. When you affect those two things, then, and particularly assets, then that can be a real problem. But other than that, we only need so many people to come in to keep pushing that price up. So supply is actually going down really nice with the tokenomics and the fundamentals, and the demand's just got to come in as well. I think the biggest thing will be around the Hex OGs, and especially the ones with the liquid bags, and we'll see what they do. And maybe in 2-3 years' time, we could see some of the Hex OGs that actually staked out very long, but they get to the 50% mark of the average. Remember, the average used to be 4.8 years. Now it's 6 years and 6.11 years. So some of those ones I'm thinking about. So we'll see that play out. But once again, still expecting a lot of big money and some degree of that first level of virality in the retail space as well coming in this year. So it's going to be pretty cool. PulseChain is going to super ramp that up. Remember, PulseChain is. So I talk about the whales. I talk about the virality. Those are awesome. They're going to happen. I'm confident about those. But I think PulseChain itself is the biggest bull in the house. That is going to be humongous, and with the yield farming as well. Richard has playing a masterful game for domination here, and have the rest of the markets going down. He's going to get to domination faster, right? Those assets are going to get valued up faster. It's going to be the place that everyone wants to be. And of course, that's going to make, even if the other assets are declining, it's still going to be growing even in a bear market. Richard said as much, right? He said, I don't care about trying to time the price. Just want to get in early and go for gold. So pretty cool. Hexhound's got the smiles on. Abracadabra says, Kana is just clogged like Heath. Right. Yeah, that's what I thought, Abracadabra. And Simple Believers in the house say, good to see Hex Token channel member representing in the house. Big tech companies earning next week. That's right. I talked about that. If they sell off, we will see a bigger downtrend in both stocks and cryptos. Correct. So yeah, we got Tesla, Google, and there's another big one I'm aware of. So I can't remember the name at the moment. Solana down for a while. Yep, down for a while. Okay, so had some issues. All right, cool. And so they get tested right when we get these big volatile moments. So they get tested a lot, especially in a downtrend. Man, I don't know if any of you are running bots, but bots in downtrends. I don't know anyone that really has a good bot that runs in downtrends. They run really good in the uptrend, but in the downtrend, bots get smashed typically. So let me know in the chat if you know of a bot that trades and actually does well in a down market, because so far I've never heard of one. I've seen. I used to delve around with that way back with the bots because I thought they were a pretty cool idea. Any news of, in fact, Dex Tools, didn't they? Dex Tools was doing a partnership with a bot on Dex Tools, and I'm not sure how that's been performing. I used to know one of the partners, used to have to stake a 100,000 DexT to get profit share. I think that's still the case, but I think they were running a bot. A part of that had a bot in it. I'm not sure how that went though. Pulse Debate says, any news on Fiat on ramp to Pulse? Yep. So Richard's already talked about that the Fiat on ramp. I think there's going to be at least 2. I think Kinetics team's working on one, but I haven't heard much from them since they mentioned it, and Richard mentioned it. And of course, we've got a Fiat gateway. They're going to have credit card first on that. So that's what the news. So I expect that to be pretty soon, following PulseChain is my guess. They're Pulse Debate, because obviously Fiat and the bridge together are going to be really cool. And if you can ramp up that Fiat, you could really shock people with the amount of US dollar volumes coming through on that. It'd be really cool. And it's very easy to onboard known coiners and coiners that would like a Fiat on ramp. But many crypto people are obviously done pretty well in crypto. Will be just using their crypto. Need that bridge to come over so they can pair the ETH and pair the ERC20s with their free airdrops and PRC20s. Plus, of course, those who have sacrificed with their Pulse and their PulseX and all sorts of good times. It's so exciting just talking about it, right? So it's pretty exciting just talking about it. So it's pretty cool. 8K says, do you see PulseX and Pulse dump right after launch for a month or so, like how Hex did? I expect the first couple of days to be crazy, man. It's hard to predict. Obviously, we're going to have an overshooting price, but then I do expect a sell-off, and that's what I'm talking about, the sell-off. Make sure you got dry powder for that, because that's when the whales are going to come in. They're going to let it run for a few weeks probably, and then they're going to come in and start making it go up to do the parabolics after that. So that's what I'm expecting to see. So yeah, very, very cool. But because this is a little different from it's not like just like a normal token launching, right? Because we've got everything launching at once. We've got a system state copy of Ethereum launching at once, the PulseChain. We've got PulseX launching. We've got an AMM bot running, which is going to create value out of nothing and potentially have a good buy and burn in that potentially. And of course, then we've got a chance for everybody who's already sacrificed, the early adopters on Pulse and PulseX, to do their ratio trading. Got to be very careful around the ratios though. And of course, we've got the bridge opening, and that's when the mass adoption wraps up. That's when the people are coming over from Ethereum and the yield farms, hundreds of thousands, potentially a couple of million is my guess over the first 12 months to flood in. So I think it's going to be mind-blowing. It's all happening at once. It's not just one little token gamified DeFi coming out. It's the whole thing. It's all awesome. So, and then we know we've gotten a lot more projects signaling that they're coming on. Some of them are quite innovative. They're coming whole completely new DeFi, GameFi type things coming on, NFT stuff coming on. So PulseChain is going to have a lot of new stuff that hasn't been seen before from the looks of it. People want to innovate on that because it's super cheap, super fast, and they can't do it on the Ethereum blockchain. And of course, even though there's quite a few 100,000 people on a lot of the other chains, they don't have the millions. After the millions, you want the millions on there, and that's what Richard's targeting. That's why he laughs. I don't know if you've seen him laugh when he talks about the bridge coming over. He often laughs himself silly, right? Because he knows that we're going to get this massive ramp up that probably hasn't been seen before, mass adoption so fast. And of course, the yield farming and the PulseChain just make with the airdrop. It's just a killer combination, and it's pretty funny to see. It makes me smile just thinking about it, because I think, man, it's just the master play. The only thing that curious, I have 2 curious things though. Oh no, let me 3. So my 3 only concerns are the following: that the GUI is going to be too low. It's going to be too cheap to be on PulseChain, and we may get a lot of spam stuff. So I'm not sure what they've done around that. If you have any ideas around that, maybe Richard sent something I've missed it. That's the case. Number 2, the unstaked the amount of liquidity of PulseX, and of course no staking. That's obvious unless the DAO votes something in with the incentive token. And number 3 is this is the next thing we're after, is the incentive token around the incentive, what because it's obviously at the moment we want to find out more details about that, how that's going to work. Because Richard considers it his least best out of them, but it says it's known tokenomics. It works everywhere else, so it should work on PulseX, PulseChain. So That's the only thing that I'm thinking of at this stage. Those are my only three concerns. And they may all get blown out of the water, so who knows. Chris P. Bacon says, because we've got to have new dApps come on, like Liquid Loans is basically taking Pulse off supply. So you can stake your Pulse with the validators, or you can go and stake your Pulse. It's not stake. You can collateralize your Pulse over in Liquid Loans and then borrow off that, right? But the Pulse is actually off the market, right? And you're actually borrowing that stable coin USDL to go and buy more Pulse, right? And then put it back in there. So that's how Pulse is getting off the market. So the question is, how is PulseX getting off the market? The buy and burn is way bigger than Pulse. Okay, the buy and burn is going to be way bigger than Pulse in dollar amounts particularly. But there's still going to be all that supply. So, it's got to get locked up somehow. So maybe some dApps come in and say, you lock up with us, we'll give you this. People do that sort of stuff. My typical thing is the simplest thing is the best, unless it's really that captivating, is my play on that. PulseBase says, I wouldn't think Pulse will dump after a month like ETH did, as people will just be discovering that they have free PRC20s. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that you can do yield farming, right, with your Pulse. You can do yield farming with your PulseX. So PulseX will go into yield farming pools. So that is one way of it getting off the market. So that's true. They should be feeling big brain right now. And Mr. AK says, with a major crypto winter, can PLS actually pump hard this year? What's your worst case scenario for them in 2022? Yeah, I do. I think I told you about that before. I think that can still happen. I gave the argument earlier around the fact that whales will still push it in the off market. Many of the whales going for US dollar stability, so they actually move quite a bit of the crypto into that. If Hex launches in a bear market, everyone will sell their other assets to get into the start of a massive coin like PulseChain. That's right. That is the narrative, and I think that will play out. And very cool. I've been doing really good with my bot, says Naho. Oh, nice. Okay, that's good to hear. Naho, appreciate that. So that's your bot, particularly in a down, as the market's going down. Cool. Nesian's in the house with the hang 5. Very cool. All right, let's jump over here. I think we're back into Pulse. Let's do a refresh and get some of these data. I'm going to put a contents on the list because that's how we roll. Been going 42 minutes, haven't even got it to PulseX yet. So let's get into this. $945.2 million at current moment on the ETH chain only. This is PulseX.com. All the links in the video description. We've got 18 hours and 46 minutes to go until a 5% rise in the rate. And at the moment, the current rate is 10,000 points for $1.98. 10,000 points for $1.98. So basically double what it was back in when it started, when we had our first 12 days where you could just get 10,000 for $1. So there we are. Now you can see it's still relatively early date. So if you are coming into the Pulse Sacrifice, this is actually, if you think you're going to get the big X's, then obviously do your own due diligence. But this is relatively still early. And of course, by the time we get to $10, that's when it will be getting far more expensive. That's where you need much bigger X's to cover this. So this will be 10 times what the original cost price is. So very, very cool. So the whales were down here when they're sacrificing this level. We're getting like quadruple 04, 41 or something like that for their cost price. So you know that typically everything's going to be higher than that. It's going to sell higher than that, right? So there we are. Unless they sold lower than the market price, but that's not going to happen. So very, very cool. It's just going to keep going up, folks. Very steep. So still relatively early in the curve. And I think much beyond this, it's going to start getting much more expensive and it's going to get shorter space of time. So there we are. All right. Once you sacrifice, of course, you will see your Pulse and your PulseX for this particular one on the PulseChain blockchain when it launches. Very, very cool. All right, let's jump over to pulsex.info. This is where you sacrifice, folks. Just follow the instructions. If you're doing ETH or ETH compatible chains, everyone is sending to this address here. And if you want to do Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, just follow the instructions here. And of course, you'll have step 1 to 3 for that. Very, very cool. All right, so let's jump over to PulseX Leads. And this is the awesome site that we've been able to use. A big shout out to the developer Game System 10, who was actually in here on the first day or two, but I don't think Game System 10's been in here since that time. So big shout out to Game System 10. Anyway, they have a donate button there if you want to help them out. It's always nice when they do this nice work for us. So very, very cool for the community. Totals US dollar sacrifice so far. This includes the Ethereum chain, the Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon. Matic. So very cool. $989,760. So very cool. 507. So nice. So we're well over a billion. I think we're $1.015 billion, 16, maybe something like that. Yeah, probably $1.016 17 million now. Very cool. Probably getting close to 1 billion 20 million. I would say probably up on that at the end. Very nice. So that's including other coins. So very cool on other chains. Estimated total sacrifice points with volume 16 trillion and 953 million 328. No, let me rephrase. Sorry, I was wrong. 16 trillion 953 billion, I should say. 328,988,922. That's better maths, isn't it? That's better representation. So that's some pretty awesome stuff. This does not include the Origin account. So like I say, in PulseChain, we're expecting to have somewhere like 135 to 150 trillion Pulse. That's going to be the starting total, and then it gets with the 25% burn, just goes down from there. Remember, no doubt people are going to lose some of it. They're going to lock it up over here. They're going to put it in a wallet. They forgot their keys, or there's going to be all sorts of stuff. Our stuff gets lost. They say there's something like 4 million Bitcoin that has been lost. For different ways. So definitely there is a chance. But so there we are. So there's lots of different things. And once the Origin account, we may end up with, for PulseChain, because it's much higher. Remember, we had about, probably with ETH and non-ETH, we had something like 730, 750 million for that one before the Origin account came in. This one here is already, up at over a billion. So we could end up with possibly 180, 200 trillion tokens to start off with. Obviously, the Origin accounts, we treat it as inactive liquidity, as a liquid Hex, inactive liquid PulseX is kind of the way you might treat it. So we'll look forward to that. It's going to be pretty cool when the Origin account, we expect that to come in possibly in the last couple of days towards the end of February, as if it does the same thing as it did with PulseChain, which was back in early August last year. So pretty much that. All right, let's check out the top 100 wallets, and we've got still got our big 7 whales above 10 million. So you can see that here, and of course, let's see what the top to get in the top 100 now. Let's scroll that down, and you need still 1,028,000 on that amount, and of course with the that's the effective rate. With the sacrifice rate, that would be 1,189,000. So to get in the top 100 there, that's for ETH, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon to combine. Very cool. We've got total addresses of 117,726, which is pretty badass in my view. Pretty cool. And let's have a look at the top. We're going to look at Magic Carpet Ride first. You know how we roll. Ramon's in the chat, so we've got to do that. That's for sure. So big shout out to Ramon. And let's go up here. I think this one here, DE807, number 21. So amazing. This is a pool or a syndicate, a group of people on Telegram, on YouTube. And of course, they set up different groups for different sacrifices, set out one for liquid loans. We're kind of quasi following their journey. They got 3.8, 3.9 there, over $4 million sacrifice. So amazing stuff there. Very, very cool. Looks like they're going to multiplier of around about 2.1459 here. So amazing. And they're looking at 83 billion tokens. Very nice position in there. They have joined the whales through combining their, I don't know how many, there must be a lot of people in there, but they've joined themselves to make themselves up with the whales. That's what they've done. And of course, they still sacrifice even today. I think that maybe today, tomorrow, probably tomorrow is the last day before they start moving below 10,000 points. But we'll check that out on the old table there. That's impressive stuff. So hats off. We'll watch their journey. Let's go to top 500 and see what the rate is. So you need 201,218 to get over there to get in the top 500. Let's go to top 1,000. And we're going to scroll down there and have a look. 1,000. So 1,000, you need 103,529 there, or 100,809 on the effective. So pretty cool. A 1.57 multiplier there gives you an idea of what they're getting. And of course, the top 1,000, as we say, control probably somewhere like 75% of the total volume of Pulse. And so all in 1,000. But as I say, don't get too upset about that if you're not in the top 1,000, because these guys will be buying and selling amongst themselves. And of course, when the PulseChain bridge opens up, that's going to bring up, if we've got 100,000 wallets here, that could potentially bring millions of wallets in over say 12-month period. So I wouldn't be too alarmed by this. Very, very cool. So let's go to the top 5,000 and check out the bottom one there. And we're sitting at $20,000, which is like how many of them. I laughed at this yesterday, but 20,000 wallets is pretty funny. So nice. And they're getting a multiplier 1.32 pretty much at that level. So it gives you a good idea. Nice. Now, some people are getting Genesis accounts. So they're sacrificing, just a couple dollars, maybe $10, trying to get in different wallets, trying to get Genesis accounts. And it appears that some of the projects that are going to be coming on board to PulseChain will be giving airdrops to Genesis holders. So it says something if you're after some airdrops, sometimes they can be lucrative. So you got to be careful sometimes to make sure the project's legit. But other than that, that some people are taking that strategy, and it does appear that we are getting one or two projects at least that looking to launch their project and airdrop to all the Genesis holders, the people that are sacrificed at these wallets time. So keep an eye out for those folks for sure. So nice. I think we might have Alex on the house, so we're going to check into that. We'll just get into the leaderboard and let me go to the stats page. We'll come down to this. I'm just going to do a few more comments and catch up a little bit. We got AK says, since the buy and burn for PLX is not automated, how often do you think the buy and burn will happen? Any game theory on timings of buy and burn for better price appreciation? No expectations question. I like that. Okay. Or I would hope every day at some random time or in different parcels. Maybe they'll just randomize it. Is my guess. But typically, Richard's pretty strategic, right? So whoever's running the buy and burn is going to be pretty strategic. But the more often, the better, right? It's like compounding. The more times you compound, the better. So hopefully that would be the case. Sometimes impact playing as well. We know that we've seen a lot in the Hex chart. We've seen a lot of impact playing happen with some of the candles. So definitely that's exciting too. Hey, let's just jump back to the Hex price here. 18.12 cents. I just have a feeling we're getting a bit of momentum there. I know it's still early days, but I just have that. Look, yeah, we broke that previous one there, 17.9. So let's see if we can get up to 18.4 cents. That'd be nice there as well. Cool. All right, let's Steve Wright's in the house. I'm so thankful you're on being in California. The time is perfect. Steve Wright, Santa Barbara. Hey, nice one, Steve. Yeah, it does seem to be the evening and on Saturday there. So cheers to everybody over in California there. Of course, it's Sunday here. It's 6:23 p.m. on Sunday. Nice. Matt says, with the recent dumps, maybe continued dumps, that money has to go somewhere. PulseX can't dump as it's not out yet. That's true, but the money could flow into PulseX. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's the biggest thing in crypto, right? What else is in crypto at the moment? Everything's sinking, right? So, so to speak, it's not quite gone yet, right? Still, as long as these are still pretty decent levels for crypto at the moment, but is major pullback, right, from the all-time highs there. So let's actually jump into Bitcoin here. I'm not sure if it's going to have this figure on here. It's up, still up 8.8% from a year ago. That does change, obviously, with the price of Bitcoin, but it's pretty much down on every other metric. Let's have it. I don't know if it has the rate on here. Does it have other data? I'm looking for the. Let's have a look here. Yeah, all-time high, 67,600 here, 11th of August 2021. It's down from there. I thought it might have a percentage. Yeah, percentage of all-time. Okay, it's at 52% of all-time high at the moment. I was hoping I'd have the reverse number, but that's pretty cool. 48%, I guess, something around there. What else we got? It's better. Circulating supply, almost 19 million. All right. So a lot of people keep using the old figure of 18.5 million Bitcoin. It's 18.9. But as I understand it, about 4 million of it's lost. So really we're down to 14, 15 million. And of course, 1 million's in Satoshi's wallet. So really we're down to about 14 million Bitcoin. It's not, a heck of a lot. But then again, I think that's it on there. So cool. All right. So we actually might jump out of there. We might just have a quick look back to the market there. Anyway, we're going to Pulse Leads. We're going to have a look at the day results. And here we are on sacrifice per day. So we're going to quickly check that out. We finished day 25 and we finished that 5 hours ago. So obviously I started a bit later today. I was a little bit under the weather earlier. So I just waited till I picked up a bit of steam. And here we are, $2 million again. Is it the same as yesterday? It always seems to be the same as yesterday. I'm not sure when I'm looking at this chart, but we've got 2 million there, and we've currently got 164,000 at the moment. It's because I did the daily vid. It's a bit like deja vu. I think when I do the daily video and then I do this, I keep on thinking that I'm looping around, but I think it's just that little because I've already seen it before. So 987.5, and then we've moved up to 989.5, and we've added on. We're now at 989.760, not far away from 990, and very, very cool. So looking good. All right, so yeah, the only way we'd get massive more sacrifice is if the Hex price just absolutely rallied, but then it would have to go really huge now to offset it relative to the first days where you get 10,000 per $1. I know that we're at $2 per 10,000, so pretty much that's where we're at. We're going to check out the PulseX sacrifice table in a second, but let's get into some more comments just to catch up on those. Thumbs up for cookies and cream, cookie in crypto. I said cookies and cream, but it's cookies and crypto. I always fall for that one. And now he says you can back test on TradingView for proof. Yep, I'm familiar with that usage there. And Hexsound says it's going to be crazy, absolutely. And Bristologies just saw you had a similar comment. Yep. AK says whatever E2 Pro launches, whenever in 6 years, though. Well, it's actually going to ramp up over 6 years, right? So we've got to be careful how we characterize E2 Pro, but I get it. Lol, yeah. Is that a fork, and do we get copies again, or that just some sort of upgrade? Yeah, it's just whatever the block height is at any particular time. So whenever that is. And Brazil says great minds think alike. Everybody, it's great to see projects come out of Pulse. Yeah, and I think there's going to be many new ones, quite innovative ones, DeFi. And I think a lot of projects that are also doing stuff elsewhere will come. They're all going to come, man, because they all want the layer one block. We always don't forget you own your keys, your coins, and of course on these second layer blocks and other stuff like that. You don't own the coins as per se the level, the layer one. So I think it's quite a cool thing. Brandon says Hex is going to be the greatest RH product long term. There will be a time when people say, "Did you get in pre-doco or post-doco?" Yeah, that's going to be January 23, right? At this stage, it will be known by all after its releases. That's true. That's a magical stuff for a retail virality for sure. For sure. And Alex K says, PulseChain. Hey, good to see Alex in the house. Great to see Alex. Cool. PulseChain bridge, super easy to use. Can't wait until can bridge coins over for real. Yeah. So Alex, I take it that you've used it yourself. So let me know in the chat. That'd be cool. Nesian says, do you think the OA will sacrifice Hex? Well, that's what we're expecting. But it could sacrifice something else. It's got plenty of tokens to do it. Remember when sacrifice Hex is a no-brainer, right? Because it's still going back to itself, kind of thing. So it's kind of the family of itself. The sacrifice address being the family. It's like a close-knit family, as it were, between the OA and the sacrifice addresses, I guess you want to say. Brazil says, click on the view transaction Hex tokens. View the transactions. Yeah. Which one do you want me to look at, though? I'm not sure which one you want me to look at there, because there's a couple there. We've got obviously the some of the top wallets here. We've got the Hex Guidewell and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes I look on the view transactions if it's useful, like the Magic Carpet Ride. Okay. To see the Magic Carpet Ride, guys, sacrifice. See how many. Okay, we'll do. Let's jump on those. 21. Let's go 21. We're going to view transactions. Bam. So the latest one and latest and greatest is the 22nd here. Seems like they did quite a few. Ethereum, BSC, Ethereum, USDC, pegged USDC coin, and some tether there. So what have they done here? Crypto value 1,000, 653, 886, 2,000. They definitely slowed down there, right? It's definitely what you expect, right? But especially at this turning point, they're at a turning point now. But they'll still get more sacrifices in. What else are they getting? They're still getting their rate though, 2.139. Oh man, they are so lucky, aren't they? That's really cool. So rate, $1.88. What else we got there? Estimated points 23 mil, 21 mil. So very nice for those, especially the small players coming in. There's probably small players, maybe a bit of top up, probably new small players coming in, and the new small players are benefiting from this 2.14 rate. So hats off to them. Or Top Gun hat off to them. That's pretty cool. So that was Saturday. Friday, they got 5 on there, 5 of those, Polygon, Ethereum, BSC. Yeah, so a couple $1,000 there too. So definitely falling off from the big times. Let's go way back. So yeah, I think the last big one they did, or 15's not too bad, but the last big one they did back here on the 19th, they did 360,000 there. So Magic Cup Rides, still killing it. But I guess a lot of their big stuff is back here, way back. Man, they've done so many sacrifice numbers, though. This is amazing. This is what happens when you join a pool. Obviously, this is a very trusting pool. This is these people are pretty much, most of them are strangers. A few of them know each other, but that's the case. So it's going to be fascinating to see this play out. The guys do look like really good guys. So yeah, good luck. It seems pretty good. Very, very cool. We've got lots of details there as well. Nice. All right, so we went through that one. Alex says likely at the end after volume phase competition. And Sinful Believer says the best buy and burn would be at the dips when paper hands leave. That's correct. So I agree with that. Absolutely, Sinful, and that may very well happen. That's why I mean he's typically very strategic. So that's a very good observation, Sinful Believer. Brazil says it's 9:30 p.m. Saturday night here in California. It's party time. I guess you guys have got the drinks, maybe the rum and cokes. I've got the pure Coke, but maybe a rum and Coke. It's got no sugar, but it's, Let's have a look here. So nice charities in the house. Will it be easy to buy Hex once PulseChain launches? Yep. You'll be able to do that either with crypto on the chain, or you'll be able to bridge over ETH or ERC20s in stables to do that. And Charity says, do you have any info or ideas about the 4th token from Richard? You mean the 5th token, the incentive token? There's going to be, it depends how you define it, right? But there's going to be 5 tokens all up. It's going to be Hex on ETH, Hex on Pulse, Pulse on PulseChain, and PulseX on PulseChain, and then, of course, the incentive token, which doesn't have any name yet. But then there's going to be multiple pairings, right? It's going to be multiple pairings and different letters for those pairings, depending on which chain you're on, right? So what else we got? What projects are you most bullish on? Least? Well, most bullish. Well, it depends on what time frame, right? That's the tricky part. But I would say in the short term, PulseX, and in the medium long term, Hex and Pulse. And then the incentive token, I would say, does rank at the bottom. But the yield token will be pretty good in short term too, because a lot of yield farmers will be chasing that down. So yeah, the short term and medium long term play is the way I put that. Francesca says I'm bullish at Hex. So my point of view though is that I've got a diversified portfolio, so I've got some of each of them. I'm going to have be in each of them. So even if I'm wrong on my judgment, you're not going to win either way, right? So you're going to win either way. I'm bullish at Hex and Pulse. Yeah, me too. Charity. Oh, by the way, with my PulseX, I want to switch some of it into more Pulse. Is probably what I want to do too. In the 68-week period afterwards, after launch, is my guess. Charity Dunning says, I want to start a Hex CD ladder, but the ETH gas fees, yeah. So you'll be able to do that on PulseChain there, Charity. So that you look forward to that. PulseChain will be super cheap, super fast. You can do it on there. And if you're coming in at the first time, you want to bring in fiat through somewhere and get it on there, you'll be able to do that either through one of the other chains and then bridging it over, or through the direct fiat gateway that's going to be launched. So there are going to be a couple of ways of doing that. But then it'll be super cheap, super fast. And of course, unstaking and staking or restaking will be super cheap too. Good accounting will be cheaper too. So you'll be able to do that. One more question. I haven't heard Richard endorse liquid loans. No, he doesn't. It's not his project, but the project looks strong. Yep. And what do you hear about it among the community? Yeah, it's got a lot of popular support amongst the community. It's going to be used by a lot of people, as my guess. It's kind of like a no-brainer, but there are risks with it. So you got to take that into account. If you over-collateralize, there's risk to that. If the Hex price does some major pullbacks, you could get caught out if you're highly risked. But for the most part, I think if you're very conservative with it, that can actually be quite good for you. And there's other strategies as well. You don't actually have to collateralize your Pulse in it. You can actually you don't actually have to. You can take your stable coins off after you collateralize it. You don't actually have to spend that and buy more Pulse or play that game, which is the haunted strategy. but you could just leave that in the platform and earn Pulse and the dual tokens on there. And that's another way of using it. Another way, of course, is not putting your Pulse on there at all and buying some of the tokens like the stable coin or off the market, and then just putting that on the platform and earning passive income from that. So there's a couple of strategies there. Alex Fame says no expectations, but I do wonder what's going to happen to all the sacrifice liquidity. Well, I think we've kind of had hits from Richard. Richard's actually openly talked about how much stable coins, which is a big signal from him. If he didn't want to talk about it, he just wouldn't have talked about it. But he said obviously no expectations, and I think he's actually going to. He also talked about potentially he's looking to spend some money this year, so watch out for that one. But I think he uses it to support liquidity, no matter where that is, and I think he'd also may get involved in some marketing. You just never know. Once again, no expectations for work of others. Remember, Hex, Pulse, and PulseX are all not securities under the Howey test, because that's why we're sacrificing, as opposed to we're actually minting our own tokens, so to speak, or getting an airdrop is the other way of doing it. So some places an airdrop may be of an issue, but they're all starting at zero, right? They're all starting at zero for tax purposes. So very, very cool. Brazolci, thank you for showing the Magic Carpet Ride account. Hey, no, most welcome there, Brazolci. And Morris Williams says, enjoy the journey. We are with you. Hey, absolutely. We are a growing community pretty fast, folks. The best thing you can do for your own investment is spread the word. That's the best thing you can do, onboard other people, because it is fantastic. It is the best crypto and DeFi, really. I call it the gold standard. And I said to you, gold standard products in crypto are like the top 1%. Maybe even smaller than that. So very cool. Like I know other products that I think are fantastic in the gold standard, but there's different variables that impact them, right? Sometimes it's not fair. Sometimes it is because their own the way they run the project, even though the idea is fantastic. It's the way they run the project, or do too much. Try to do too much is another problem. Sometimes very cool. Charity says thanks, and you're most welcome. And Brendan says K for K has got me bullish on PLSX. Yes. But the only thing I said to you is this is around the staking, about getting PulseX off the market. There's huge volumes on that, right? We could have $500,000 $1 million a day buy and burn. Could be accumulated and then magically buy at the right time, as the person indicated before. If the price has a major pullback, used to buy, which is probably going to happen. That's probably going to be most cases. I think that's actually going to work better, actually, in some ways. So very cool. And you get those big green wick candles, and of course it'll be able to keep doing that for quite a bit, and it's going to get burned off. So yeah. But once again, PulseX will be able to go on pools. We'll be able to get rid of that way. Maybe we might get a DAO staking. We get some of the incentive token that way. But otherwise, it hasn't got as many as staking options as I can see to get PulseX off the market on top of the buy and burn. Even though that's actually huge value potentially, like I say, $500,000 $1 million possibly a day, depending on the volumes going through. But I think the volumes are going to be massive, and an AMM bot's going to help kick that off massively, and then the bridge is going to supercharge that. So yeah, pretty bullish. That's why I'm bullish on PLS in the short term. But I want to use those profits to get more Pulse. Now I could be wrong, right? Pulse might just do better and kick butt. So because Pulse has already stuff going into validators, going into pools, and going to liquid loans. So you see what I mean? There's how many places are going to get that Pulse off the market? If you've got this much Pulse, maybe these different apps are taking that Pulse off the table. You only got this much left on the table, and then that's a lot easier. The less supply is circulating around, and the less some of that's on the table, some of it will be inactive. So you could take that off because people are really just keeping it there, not caring about it. Then the other part, people are trading the heck out of it, and not, so we're gonna find out how that plays out. But definitely bullish on all of them. But yeah. Brenton over PLS, yep. Well, I understand the logic for that. That's what I mean. The dollar, you're getting 0.06% of all the volume going through, as opposed to the super cheap chain, which is going to have low volume. And Polygon's the best indicator of that. Polygon's doing a couple $1 million. It's having 3 or 4 million transactions per day, but doing I think it was last time I checked, maybe $5-6 million, something like that. Whereas Ethereum, of course, the fees are super high, and they're making hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So that's how the difference is going to be between the two on the Uniswap and the different chains that you're on. So Matt says hats off to the guy who made the Pulse Lead website. So great that we can see other chain sacrifices. Thank you. How can I write the shopping list? Thank you. Now I can write the shopping list. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said to you, game system down the bottom here. Can you actually see that? Might take that off here. So game system down here. is the person that's helped do that. You can actually contact them on Twitter if you want to get new features. And of course, they've got the donate button up there as well. So very, very cool. Nice shout out there, Matt. And Brendan says, but Ether is a winner in my eyes. And Richard Howerton says, if you have testnet loaded, does mainnet automatically take over the testnet when PulseChain launches? So they'll just reload. Testnet will disappear. They'll just reload the PulseChain up as a fresh site. So that's what you'll have there. Fresh Explorer. Everything will just basically be fresh and new. And then, of course, you have to add the PulseChain testnet update to your MetaMask wallet or whatever wallet you're using with the network. You'll have to add the new network in there. And then, of course, your airdrop will be on that new network. So cool. Brendan says, okay, I didn't know about the staking of PLX. That's not a given yet, right? So I'm just saying there. You got to think, how do you get all these tokens off? Like the buy and burn's fantastic. How do you get these tokens off? Yeah. So there's different mechanisms. As I said, the liquidity pools themselves will get PulseX put in those pools. There's different ways of getting it off the market, as it were. The less that you've got available for circulating, the better. That's why I always harp on about the PulseChain, right? The PulseChain one, where we've got two so far. Hex has sacrificed 2.15 billion, and that's fantastic, right? Getting more circulating supply off the market. So yeah, very, very cool. Brazilzi says Hex at 18.28. Yeah, so that's going up nicely. Look at that. Woohoo! Yeah, baby, yeah. All right, rock on. All right, enough stupidness there. All right, there we are. So there we are. So yeah, number 10 still. We're looking pretty good here as well. The markets had enough to sell off at the moment. I think they're quieting down over the weekend. So nice. Let's go in here. So yeah, this is off the market. Beautiful. That Hex number is so good as well. Now the interesting thing, of course, we're going to have Hex on ETH and Hex on PulseChain and those dynamics. It's going to be fascinating, man. I mean, this is crazy stuff we're talking about. This is going to be absolutely epic to see that play out. We know it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have 2 T-share rates, 2 T-share payouts for T-shares. It's really going to be quite fascinating to see it all played out. It really is going to be pretty cool. Let's have a look at the sacrifice table. Here we are, folks. It's nice and bright and orange. This is on a 4.5K 24-inch iMac, brand new. And of course, I'm speaking into the studio quality speaker now. So hopefully that's a lot crisper than the old PC mic. Now this was actually brand new. People were complaining about it because not some people, maybe 5% of people were complaining because they said the mic was a bit tinny from their point of view. So I couldn't argue much with that. But there we are. Now we've got the studio mic. So hopefully that's deeper, raspier voice or something like that. No one's going to get close to Crypto Heartbeat, right? With that smooth voice. In fact, I don't know if you watched Trayvon's video today. It was a pretty good one from Trayvon, and he does this. Crypto Heartbeat voice, and he says that guy's a real sweetheart or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty funny. But Crypto Heartbeat has that smooth, like radio voice type thing. So very cool. Well, let's jump over to this one here, and we've got $1.89, and we're at day 26 here, $1.98, and of course at the moment, so for $1 at the moment, you'll get 5,051 Hex, whereas before you would have got 10,000. Before you would have got 10,000, now you get 5,050. So it's basically half, right? Basically half now. And that's day 26, $1.98. Tomorrow it's going to be $2.08, folks. Just make that account. So if you're thinking about sacrificing, tomorrow does go over the $2 mark, $2.08, and within a couple of days. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So within 8 or 9 days, we'll be over $3. So just take that into account. So just over a week's time. So interesting stuff. Now let's actually look at the market carpet ride and see approximately. This is just indicative. Approximately what rate they're still getting for their small retail sacrifices in there. These are people that normally would just get over 1. They probably would get a multiplier of over 1, but they're getting a multiplier about 2.14 at the moment because they've joined that big pool. That's how they've taken on that one. So yeah, so day 27 from the looks of it. Maybe day 28. Let's argue they got 1.4. They may even get to day 28. So maybe when it gets to $2, Let me have a look at here. We're up to make sure this is right. So yeah, maybe the next 2 days they're still getting over 10,000 points for their dollar, which is lucky to them if they join the Magic Carpet ride. So we'll watch out for that. Definitely cool. Let us go to the PulseX stuff. So remember, this is last date. This was updated. It was the 18th. I wish they did update this at least every day or two, but last day was 18th. It does have a lot of the sacrifice in there, 980 plus 50. So it's not too bad. You can see the max supply is 16.8, where the actual amount is 16.95 now on those 3 top chains. This has an estimate for all the chains on there at the time. So this is the 18th. So obviously there's 4 or 5 days ago now. We've only had relatively modest increases, a couple million each day. So it's not too bad of a estimate. But I like it because it gives you a nice distribution of this here. So this is this is, I would say, strongly indicative of the results. But you can see that we've got a whole ton of wallets that are below $1,000. Sorry, maybe below 1,000. So 15,000 is 500 plus to 1,000. 26,000 is $100 plus. We have a lot of these small ones here, and then of course we start getting into what I call the investor level, which is 5,000. I would say $5,000 or more, and we've got 7,000 wallets for that, 5,600 for that, and so forth. So 1,800 for 25,000, 50,000, 1,000, 637 for 100,000. So interesting stuff there. As we get higher, so 100 wallets for 500,000, 100 wallets for 1 million, or we've got just over that, maybe 110, but you get the idea. That's pretty interesting, and yeah, very cool. All right, so the minimum, of course, price was $0.04, so we should have that as a price floor, shouldn't we? I think that's probably reasonable to assume. And then, of course, the max price at the time on the 18th was $0.0014. So we probably get some price between those two. If the price does shoot, which you typically get in crypto, pretty high on the first day, then we may get some pretty high prices, even overshoot the max here. It'll be pretty crazy. A lot of people are picking 0.001 kind of for the price, but I've seen prices of 0.003 that people that bullish. How long it stays there for is a question, because you got all these whales with the low cost min price. So that would be a pretty big X returns, right? So the market's got to absorb those sellers that are willing to take lower X returns, right? The market's got to absorb them first before it moves higher. And of course, the timeliness of the buy and burn, as you say, we'll call it the magical buy and burn now because it's not automated. And like I say, it's probably going to be at the best times. Wouldn't you buy it when the market price is at the lowest, I guess, or at least with the chart that shows momentum going higher and time the price so that you keep that momentum going higher. That's maybe the way you might want to do it too. Very cool. So nice stuff there. The mean sacrifice 9,355. The median at 813. This is back on the 18th there. So you can see the address is much lower, 102,000 there as well. So pretty cool chart there. Like it. I like it a lot. All right. So nice. And Hex looking not too bad. 18.1 cents. I love it. So very cool. Let us jump out. Hey, I can't believe it. We're almost up to an hour and 20. Can you believe it? I mean, heck, I thought we'd only been done like 40 minutes. But man, oh man, that's amazing. Hey, welcome everybody, by the way. I hope you guys are enjoying the PulseX sacrifice experience. Maybe you missed out on PulseChain. Of course, some of you out there will be sacrificing for PulseX and maybe take some of those PulseX and try and pick up some Pulse before the bridge opens up a day or two later. So PulseChain launches, then the bridge opens up a day or two later. That's when all the people flock in from that weren't part of the sacrifice phases, and also they're coming to get their free airdrop. And of course, match up liquidity pools, get all the incentives that are in there, and the party gets started. There's going to be 2 parties. It's going to be the party for the people that sacrifice, and then the party for the people that are coming over on the bridge. So that's what I mean. It's going to be. I don't know if you've ever been to some cultures have winnings over a whole week, and it's going to be a bit like that. I think at least for a couple of days, at least. Possibly the first week. So it's going to be different from other places. There's not just one token launching. This is a full system stated copy of Ethereum. The PulseX, a whole nother, the biggest yield farming in crypto history. This is a big deal. Super fast, super cheap chain. Layer 1. You got your keys, your coins, everything. It's like a dream come true in crypto. And of course, we're going to have a bridge open up a day or two later, which we've already tested out. You see the video on my channel. If you haven't seen it already, check that out. But I swapped some PLS on there. I swapped some, which is test PLS. I swapped some USDC on there. I swapped some Hex on there between the chains. So there's pretty cool. Check that out for sure. Let's just answer some of these final questions, and I'm just going to jump over to PulseX. Let's see if we've actually got a little bit higher there. We're going to move to just to wind down to the comments here. 989.77, not far away from 990. Pretty cool. And nice. Morris says, I've been posting on Facebook. Very cool, Morris. Share the Araha. Nice. I like it. Yeah, get the word around. It's going to be life-changing for them as well. Tex Hex says, I'm not too late tonight, am I? I think you get on towards the end there now. The Tex Hex, was it 51, 10 minutes ago? So, no, you've not been too bad. You've been able to make in the last 10 minutes or so. And Hexhound says, last I've seen, they had 300K or the 600K needed for the Daytona 500 Hex race car. All right, that could be another way of looking at it. And lol, says Brazology. You should play the Top Gun theme song when the price starts going up. Yeah. My channel will probably get smashed by YouTube, though. I mean, they got so many bots running on YouTube that they catch you for anything they don't like. Your current mic sounds awesome, says Brazil. I appreciate that, Mike. Yes, the studio mic built into the 24-inch iMac, and it's of course got the M chip's pretty amazing. I don't hear any noise from my computer. And what else I was going to say? Yeah, sound system's pretty good too. Comes out of the bottom of it. And stuff like that. So yeah, I've been watching a few little reviews on it, and it's got a studio mic built in, which I didn't even know, and so that's been really useful. Brendan says, so your game theory is to hold PLX until 68 weeks, and then swap 6 to 8 weeks, you mean, yeah, and then swap for PLS. Are you looking for a certain amount of X before you make that decision? Yeah, just a relatively better result is probably I'm looking at, Brenton. I'm not going to sell the whole lot. I'm just going to sell some of it, right? Because I like to have tokens across the whole lot. But once again, I'll just adjust and see what happens with the market at the time. That's my current approach. So hold everything and possibly swap PulseX gains, which I'm expecting to be higher than Pulse to Pulse. But that's because I think that the volumes going through PulseX are going to be so big, which they will be. So it's just a mathematical certainty. I think someone mentioned one of the YouTubers, KNTX or something, I can't remember, earlier, that may do that. Cool. T-Hex says, I don't like watching pre-recorded videos, and I love that I can always count on you being live almost every night. Keep up the great work. Hey, T-Hex, appreciate that. Will do. And Brendan says, great education channel. Hey, appreciate that, Brendan. I've learned a lot. Cool. That's great. That's the hope of the channel, really. I do love crypto, and of course I love the what I call the gold standard products, and I don't mind talking about those. Sometimes those products don't always fire, and that's because of other reasons, right? It's not just because of the tokenomics. It can be because of a lot of different reasons that happen, but those are the ones. Chris says, no matter how you play the PulseChain, Pulse and PulseX is a win-win long-term. Absolutely, Chris, you're on the money with that. That's why I said I like a diversified strategy. Hold everything, folks, a bit of everything. And of course, that's the way to rock. You don't lose out that way, dear. But they're all going to do well. So I'm not too worried. Brendan says, yep, I didn't think you meant to sell the whole lot. That would be silly. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be silly. I'd have to, I don't know, throw, I don't know, some goo on my head or something like that. So Daniel says, will ETH2O be a threat to PulseChain thriving? No. That's a question that no one really deep dives into. No, for two reasons. One, because the full program for ETH 2.0 is over 6 years. Even if they have sharding coming, they will improve the TPS, is my guess. And we want that, right? We want that for Hex on ETH. We want the fees to be cheaper. We do want that. But they're not going to be so low to compete with PulseChain, at least for the first 3 to 5 years, is my guess. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the way to go. The other thing is the second thing, of course, so that's the time frame. The second thing is basically I don't think the fees are going to get quite that low, right? They're going to get cheaper possibly, but not quite that low. The problem also for smart contracts is the S-load function, which loops around returns, particularly for certificate of deposit projects like Hex, is that it has to loop through every day's transactions, the reward pool every day, and your shares that you've got that day, and calculate your return for that day. It's got to go through all your stakes. So the longer your stakes are, the more expensive that becomes. So we definitely want to see that cheaper on the ETH chain. Because that way you're going to do well on PulseChain with Hex and also with the ETH chain, and the fees won't be too offset there. So hopefully that sort of gets a bit to your point there. Daniel. Sorry, I highlighted the wrong question at the time when I was talking about it, but that's Daniel's question. Brazil says, question, do you think Richard Hart haters may have sacrificed just to harm the price later on with a massive dump? What do you think of this game theory? I mean, that's always an outside chance, but I don't think so. I think that there's enough. They're not big enough, right? They won't be big enough. I don't think they'll be big enough to do that, even if they had that in play. The other thing is, I think that they know that Richard Hart, that the best chance of getting huge returns, especially now in this market, is through Richard Hart's project. So some of them may not have sacrificed, and maybe they're doing it now. Maybe they're thinking, actually, maybe I need to get on this PulseChain thing because this market's looking pretty. My portfolio just went down 50% or whatever. So maybe the counter argument to that too. But I just don't think they're going to be big enough, even if they did have that strategy, right? We've got too many strong whales. Look at these whales up here. And if they did do that, then the buy and burns is going to buy them off the market, right? So, yeah, thanks very much. You dumped the market. I'm going to buy you now. You missed the green candle. See you later. And that's the way they'll go. So, yeah. Daniel says, thanks, bud, and welcome. And Mr. AK, I'm actually going to, Daniel, I'm actually going to be covering the ETH 2.0 roadmap. That's my next video I want to do outside of PulseChain. So it's obviously a different topic. I think it's actually quite relevant. So I will be covering that. I've actually saved my research for that. AK says, where do you personally see ETH bottom would be at on ETH and so forth. So, well, obviously, I think I had it at $1,400 if it did a real nice strong correction. I think I had $1,400, maybe $1,350. But once again, I haven't been doing a lot of thinking about that. But that was thinking I had some time back. That's where it would go. So yeah. Alex K says, probably look at the stablecoin war chest. I would not try to fight Richard Hart with such economic energy storage. Yeah. Hey, that's a great observation, Alex. I have talked about it before, but that is a smashing. That's what I mean. There's a war chest there. No, who else got war chest? Who else got the war chest? Richard Hart's got the war chest, right? And that's what I'm saying. It's going to be smash banging, and that's a great observation, Alex. Big shout out to Alex, our head moderator. Rock on, as they say. Rock on. That's from that 50 was it 50 Nights or whatever, 50 movie with Adam Sandler. And I can't remember the guy actually said it, but it's quite funny too. Thank you for the answer. I think you're right. Yeah, I think so too. I think that's right. So when we're making comments about we're trying to get the right probability right, are we more right than we're going to be sort of more wrong or something like that? AK says, how often would be the buy and burn? Oh, well, we talked about that earlier. I think that I would suggest that it could be every day, but that's on the benefit of the compounding benefit, but actually on a strategic benefit, it would be either two when the price has been sold down and then move the candle back up and close out those people that sold out, or to keep an upward momentum trend, to keep that going up. So a bit like what we've seen with Hex, how you see the parabola keep going, and some critical buying along that way. So that's probably where I see that, and that's probably more likely that one of those two other strategies there. Brendan says they will wreck themselves, not us. Yeah, that's right. I agree with you on that. And I just think that it's too small, right? It's going to be too small on that. So it says, Alex, it's true. The war chest was meant to buy the panic dumpers. Yeah, and that's right. So Mr. AK says, what ratio do you think PX and PX will be pre-bridged? Yeah, a lot of people say that. Obviously, there's going to be more a PulseX than Pulse. Yeah, so the high ratio is going to be relative to that being more. So 2 trillion to 1.5, for example. So 2 to 1.5. Matt and Barley says the mainstream and the haters are always late to the party. Commonwealth Bank, for example, starting dealing in crypto for their customers recently wrecked. Yeah, well, I see that. I actually think it's worse than the stock market. I see we have something in New Zealand. What was it called? I just saw an ad for it. It's called Sharesies. It's a retail stock company in New Zealand for Sharesies. It's very popular, one of those popular brands, and they're advertising stocks right now. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Stocks are the worst things to be in right now, in my view, unless with a few exceptions. They're pretty bad. Yeah. So I just cringe when they're offering that to all the people with their money. So I was like, anyway, but hey, that's the way it goes, right? People are going to buy at the top. And those people, they just make their fees, right? They do get hurt when the volumes fall off, though. So their fees will fall pretty quickly. Any pre-bridge strategies? Richard Hart keeps saying swapping PLX for Pulse. Yes, or some people want to do that, right? That's what's because some people missed out on PulseChain. I guess that's most of the time is why he's saying that. And of course, if other people want to get Pulse, then they can get PulseX strategy. There must be some logic to it, right? The founder himself keeps saying, well, he keeps getting asked about it. He says, people keep asking him about, I missed out on a PulseChain sacrifice, and the rate's so bad now to do the Pulse sacrifice that, how do I want to get some PulseX? So he just basically sacrifice a Pulse. Sorry, so I want to get some Pulse, so sacrifice a PulseX and then just trade some of it with the ratio before the bridge opens is the strategy to pick up some of that. Yeah, you can use other tokens that you're going to get airdropped as well. I mean, if you're holding something else that gets you airdropped, you can swap any of those for Pulse on the day or when it goes live, potentially. So, yeah. Brendan says, I think swap any ERC20 tokens you get for a copy that you don't want and swap. Yeah, oh, there we are. Brendan just said what I said. So, yeah, true. True that, as we say. Hey, welcome everybody. Now in 30 minutes, already gone 10 minutes past the live stream normal. That's pretty cool. But we've got 68 people now, so it's a little bit harder. And Hex price is pumping. I don't know when I go live, it seems to pump when I go live. No, just kidding. But it does happen a lot. But that's just the way you go. It's just probably a numbers thing. If you're live streaming most every day, then it's probably going to happen. So this is the way it goes. All right. So yeah, the market certainly looks like just recovering a little bit there. 5% up, 6% on Cardano. This is why we've been in the live stream, right? These numbers weren't as good as this before. Terra's just rocketed up 19% there relative over the 24-hour period. So that's having a nice recovery because that got smashed when it was going down. It really did get hurt quite a bit. And Hex looking pretty good there too. So nice on that. Let's do another update. I'm really trying to get this Pulse lead, see whether we can get to 990 million. Let's have a look here. We're going to look. 989,779. So has anyone got a spare $221,000 to go and sacrifice now? 221. That's all. That's all. Hey, maybe some of you Richard Hart haters out there, maybe you could sacrifice 221. see how you get on. Mr. AK says, so say PLX does indeed do a 100x. Will there be enough liquidity for people to cash out within the insane slippage? Probably not. It all happens in process. But you get so many people that don't get the 100x. So, yeah, it all goes up in time. But you need more economic energy to come in. But that's how it's designed, is to attract that much economic energy with the yield farming. This is going to be huge scale. The yield farming value is going to be the lock liquidity, all that sort of stuff is going to be massive. So I think we'll be surprised to the upside there, okay? The whole thing's designed for mass adoption. That is such a big deal because everyone with each chain, the numbers have 3-4 million users on there. That's get it copied over. That's just a no-brainer, right? And a lot of them are struggling. A lot of the smaller users over there are struggling. And a lot of the dApps have died because of the ETH fees. So you can see that that's really everything is right about the PulseChain and the PulseX and everything. There's too many things wrong on the ETH chain, except for the big whales. The whales can do their thing, but apart from them, everyone else is pretty upset about it all. I wish I had 21K in my bank pocket. Maybe in the future, says Brennan. Maybe in the future, that's the thing. Very, very cool. All right, so looking pretty nice there, folks. I think that's probably it. I think an hour and 33 minutes, pretty good, folks. Hope you guys are having a good time out there. The Hex price is looking pretty nice. Nice little recovery here. And let's see if we can get even a big green candle. Maybe someone come along and give us a nice big green candle there. Hopefully, we'll see how that plays out for sure. Let's pull it out, actually, a bigger view. Pull it out to the daily and get into that. So there we are. The green candle's starting to get bigger. So I think it was only about 2/3 of the size when we started the live stream. It's slowly getting bigger, slowly reaching up there as well. And our time towards the PulseX is closing out slowly and surely. Still got a month to go. It's a long time in crypto. We could all age like 10 years in that time on crypto. It's kind of like that. But it's pretty funny. All right, let me just post the old... if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It really does help the channel with the algorithms. You know how it rolls on YouTube. And if you haven't liked, hit the like button. And once again, let me just go trying to write this in. All right, nice. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Alex, thanks for moderating. All the other moderators, thank you very much. And I'll catch you all tomorrow, of course. I'm going to be doing some new content. Let me know in the contents if you like the daily update videos. I do them daily, but I am looking to do some other content on specialty topics as well. So let me know in the comments afterwards as well. Very, very, very cool. All right, take care out there, everybody. Enjoy yourself. Looks like we've got a bit of a reprieve now here, and so let's enjoy it. Very, very cool. All right, bye. See you later. Cheers.